when we had a conversation with the bubble about a year later, I don't channel. I can, but I don't. I just tell you, it's me. This is me. Ain't nobody else here. It's just me. You'll see me. I'm just like this, at home, drunk, stoned, whatever. I'm here. And we had a conversation about a year later, which I really didn't want to do, but it ended up being quite fascinating because, you know, in a sense I created it, so I'm his father, but in a sense I'm not also. It's totally independent. And so each of you are going to get your own bubble, okay? The bubble is multidimensional. Each of you have come from a different place, a different soul group. That would be like a family. You've come from a different dimension. Some of you are from 6th, some of you are from 7th, some of you are from 5.
5 what? Oh, dimension?
This dimension, but you won't be from, probably you won't be from 4. You're probably not from 4. Those people just generally are not that interested. And the reason that they're not is they've never experienced any of the things we're talking about at a deeper level, because I'm only reminding you of things you already know at a higher level. If you haven't had the experience at a higher level, you can't be remembering what you haven't experienced. In the bubble, it was designed and built with aspects for every dimensional being. So even though I'm projecting the same bubble, the bubble is self-adjusting. It knows where you come from. It knows the vibration of your essential being. And it adjusts to that so that it's your home. So your bubble is different than Nefisha's bubble. Even if you were from the same soul group, it's still going to be unique. So now imagine that the bubble is actually intelligent. It was designed exactly as we were by the same beings to be an intelligent being. It's self-aware, and it's aware of every one of you, too. So after a year, it had had more experience with humans than it had had the year before. I know, sounds crazy, just like all of this. It said it would be very much nicer if people were truly willing and open and understood that this is a state of being. It's very important that you remember, I'm open to getting the bubble today, but tomorrow I might not. Okay. Treat it as if it is alive, and you will do very well. It will become a great friend. It will give you comfort. It will make death, a passing of a loved one, like unspeakably easier. It's designed in accordance with universe principle to be a support. It does not know negative. It has no memory of negative. It simply will not support it. So if you're the one who chooses, and that's my perception, is that you are all the ones that choose. There's nobody else choosing, you're choosing. You now have complete freedom. You're no longer put upon. The devil did not make you do it. Now you're engaged in understanding yourself, recognizing that your core issues can be gone if you decide they can be gone. Okay? Karma is an agreed to, it's something that you have agreed to. And that you simply refuse to agree to it anymore. So when you're finished with something, you're finished with it. When you're finished with the cigarette, are you interested in the butts? Right? When you're finished with the wine bottle, you interested in that bottle? Right? So when you're finished with having your exploration, which is part of how every being learns, there's no good, there's no bad, there's no ugly, there's simply choice. Choice in one direction, choice in another. So you become self-aware and self-regulating. And you connect to the source of the being who actually created you, because your soul created you here. It's not God the Creator created you. That's a whole different stream of intelligence. It's you come into connection with the being who created you, and there are 7 billion beings who created 7 billion people. Each one is different. There are no two alike. Okay? So when you make connection with that, you start to shine as you, as yourself. You will experience some changes. A lot of them you will not recognize until afterwards. You'll say, oh God, that guy, he said the worst, as Hazel said, the worst possible things to me, and I was sitting there, and it just seemed to go around me. Well, who are you talking to? It's not me. because you don't have it. Now, part of your pain at being insulted, being rejected, is your pain. That's what you're feeling. You're not feeling that person's pain. You're feeling it in response to the pain that you hold yourself from your own experience. When you absorb that, there is nothing for it to catch on. We're making you Teflon and taking off the name, Velcro.
Yeah, Velcro.
You don't have any sticky stuff anymore. So it'll just slide through and you'll feel yourself incredibly calm. You're going to find that people will walk up to you and start telling you their life stories. Guess why? Because you're safe. You'll find that a lot of those friends that you really didn't like a great deal, and you don't really know why, will drop out of your life. You will find the people you have difficulty with will simply vanish. Okay? And this whole process is to give you the space in which to know self, know yourself, and then when you're finished, at the end of the program, we teach you now how to choose the life that you like and how that is done. And you go off and you do precisely that. That's how it works. Now, one of the other parts that they mentioned before, and I think this is also important before we do it, everything in the universe is earned. So you didn't get here because you didn't earn it. You earned your place. It's not, oh, I'm so blessed or I'm for. No, you did it. You did it. You're here because you've had it. You've got the t-shirt, you've done the pain, and you just decided, that's enough of that. And it ends with you. It doesn't end with me, it ends with you. So if you can remember to stay open and willing, that will keep you in alignment with your friend who is permanent, always with you, will never be anywhere else. It doesn't matter if you fly at the speed of sound or if you're traveling at whatever speed in a car, that bubble is always with you. You will find, though, it's true, as Hazel says, if you sit down in an airplane really close to someone who's really out of alignment, they'll get really fidgety. So just be kind, pull it in. It comes in, it goes out, you can play with it. Just pull it in close to yourself and they'll calm
They
down.
become fidgety based on our
Based
frequencies?
on your sparking their stuff.
Okay.
Okay?
So,
Interesting.
what do you mean? To make it shrink, what do you do?
You think about it. If you develop this relationship and think about your space, you can actually feel your own energy running. You will begin to feel your energy inside the confines of your body. It won't just be a body, it'll be a body full of you. And it's the you that becomes far more interesting than your body. And your body becomes more of a tool as opposed to the real deal. It's a wonderful tool. It's a skin suit, beautifully designed. And so you can then start this interplay back and forth. But if you spend your quiet times, you're going to sleep, and you remember your bubble. I mean, Renata's done a wonderful job. She calls her Sir B. And if she's in a challenge, she asks for Sir B's help. You're going to get help. Okay. Now also remember that it wasn't. I'm just the earthly vehicle of how this got created. It's all those incredible beings out there, both soul stream and angelics, who created this bubble. So if you need help, you ask for help. You're damn well going to get it. Well, we just had a friend who cracked her skull open on the ice, went unconscious, and had to be airlifted to Kingston, 3.5-hour drive away, in a land vehicle when she was like going to die. And you just put the command out, I need a plane right now. And it's there in 30 seconds. And she lives. You can be able to do certain things like that. Okay? Just remember you've got help from all over, and there's no negative in the bubble. And think of the bubble as, it's really intelligent. But each one of you is different. So now the bubble has had that experience. It says it's much better if people become open and willing as a way of being. So be open to new experience, be willing to experience whatever it is. Also, if you experience sickness, you will find you don't have bad days. You will not have a bad day. I had a heart attack, I had 2 heart attacks. First one didn't take. Second one, someone said, well, You know, I said, yeah, I had a heart attack. I was in the ICU for a lot of time, but I didn't have a bad day. I was simply having the experience surrounding a heart attack. So you'll find that you tend to pull away from, oh, poor me, I'm such a victim. Why does everybody do that to me? You know, oh, boo-hoo. All that stuff will just kind of disappear. Now, as Hazel says, as Hazel suggested, if you want to, if you become aware of something, the bubble is free will. This is free will. You have your own choice. It is not taking it away from you. You have your own choice about everything. If you have issues, you don't understand them, and you want to keep them, they're yours. The bubble will bring it up again. No, not looking. Okay. Then it'll come up again. And you know how these things happen. It's
I go in your face
whack.
like this.
If you don't get the whack in the back, in the front, you're going to get it in the back, and it'll be an 8 by 8.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because that might be your process. It's certainly my process. I don't pay attention till I virtually get struck down. I just don't. And then when I do, I say, why did that happen? You see? So if you've got something, you recognize you got something, you say, you know, bubble, please take this away. It's gone, because it won't help it. It won't hold it. Doesn't
I will
hold
be
it
giving
either.
you a sheet of like
Yeah,
helpful
some-
hints, so.
To nurture the bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is that everyone is different, all different places. Some of you may feel it. Some of you may have all kinds of experiences we've experienced with you know, the many people who've done it. Everyone has a different experience. That's quite unique to you too. If you don't feel anything, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Because where this is created from, there is no time, form, and space, and there is no manifestation. So be it, and so it is. Understand? So it's in alignment with your free will. If you're not used to subtleties, if you're not used to knowing, you know, I got a warm arm around my shoulder, or gee, the hair on the back of my neck stood up, or I heard the bell, or whatever, then that's okay. It doesn't matter. You still got it. If you don't pay attention to it, in a while you'll forget you ever had it, but your life will still change. And it'll be visible to others, okay, that your life has changed. So with that, I guess it's time. So it's really simple. It's really a simple thing. It only takes me about 3 very long breaths to do it. It's just a preparation. We've all agreed. We come into resonance. And if you can imagine, CBC is broadcasting. We don't know where the tower is, but you've got the radio tuned in. And so your radio is picking up the frequency. It's by consent. It can't be done to anybody who wouldn't consent. So therefore, you guys have all agreed, we're in agreement here, you are going to get a bubble.
Yes.
Okay, so if you say you want a bubble, you're going to get a bubble, even if you don't have a feeling. And they can be very broad, the experiences, well, I didn't feel anything. Wow, I had angels talking to me, or someone stuck a hand inside. We've seen it all, and that doesn't matter. Now, one of the things that could just cement this in place is during our explorations, Hazel used to say, well, gee, this is a long time ago, I'd really like to be able to do that. Why can't I do that? And it's just, that's okay, honey, just focus on it, and it'll come. She just didn't have the sensitivity. And yeah, it's all come, right? So it's just you haven't been there yet. Again, everything's earned. On the other hand, they also said that the highest level has no manifestation to it. How do you know that you know? You just do. Well, other people are having all these experiences. Whoa, what a trip. You know, I went to planet X, and then we went to planet Y, and oh, it was fantastic, all the lights and everything else. And you think, well, how come? That's actually lower down the scale. It's more concerned with fourth dimensional experience. Okay? But if you know that you know, you're a knower. And when you know that you know, you don't unknow what you already know. But you can't explain how it is that you do know. Okay? There are ways to explain that, but we won't go into that here. So as long as you're open and willing and ready, we'll just transmit it, and then I'll become more understandable.
So just sit quietly, I would suggest closing your eyes and just.
Should we turn down the lights, maybe?
I don't even know where they are.
I think right here.
No, I don't think
No?
it's necessary, no.
Okay.
And we'll tell you when it's.
Yeah, so it's just meditative. It's just sort of to be relaxed and open. If you're a meditator, meditate. If you're not, just put your attention basically on your physical heart. It's transferred to there. And it expands around you. And then it's there for the rest of this natural life. So here we go. There you go. Simple, right? Cookie. But the results of these kinds of things show up in your life. As Hazel said, you'll live it and it'll show up. You'll see that things are different. And again, subtlety. All subtle. If like me, you need the hammer across the head, well, you can get that too. And it won't stop your next door neighbor from getting annoyed with you. But it will stop any outside negative interference that literally has been engaged with this planet since before we were here. This is an ancient story. It's an ancient story. And I kind of wish I had, all the time to unfold to you the crazy things that have happened and how it is out there. But, yeah, you get a lot of friends. And you get a lot of friends in high places, and amazing things will happen for you. And it's much, you can imagine, if you have a friend and you don't talk for a long time, you kind of just get out of touch with that friend. But if it's a really good friend, it's like there's no time at all. So the bubble won't be upset with you. It's never judging you. You're loved. It's going to assist you in all the ways that you'll find you're living. It will literally unfold with it as a help. But it's you. You earned it. You're doing it. You're making the decisions. Nobody's making decisions for you. If you find some behavior, don't whip yourself. You like it, keep doing it. You're the one in charge. But you are responsible as it comes to your awareness. And anything else that I missed? Or anyone comment on?
They'll probably find the helpful hints quite useful as the time goes on.
Yeah.
What I did here was I made a short list out of some of the most pressing uncomfortablenesses. Can you read my writing
Yep,
there?
no, of course.
So maybe some of the things can be joined together maybe. This is difficult to do all at once. Anyway,
Okay.
do your thing, Jonathan.
All right.
And then if there's time, I can do a short inner child reconnection, if we have time. We have an hour.
Well, I wonder if you did a short inner child connection
Right.
first.
Sure.
And that would get you, because we often do this at some point during the program, it's going to do personal with where they are. It's more challenging when it's a number of people because you all have a different perspective. You know it's not true, but why would you engage in that? It's not the truth. From the mid-fifth down, there is lie. The lie exists. Okay? So the higher fifth dimensional beings are continually in alignment, and anybody who's attending one of these is going to be high fifth, sixth, or seventh dimension anyway. The rest are just not interested. We are invisible. Right? It's perfectly fine. Because we didn't come for them. We came to assist the people who came to assist, because we do tend to get lost. But once we show you the signs, you go, oh yeah, I forgot, that's the way to roam. Yeah? You're going the wrong way, that's okay. That's part of the experience. The other thing we know is that, most of you people, and in fact, everyone here is not in the reincarnation experience. You are not coming back. If you choose not to come back, you will not come back. You may, at a soul level, have decided to incarnate several times, and some of you may have had advanced lives. Many, many lives, most likely in other places. You wouldn't necessarily be engaged with the human species, but you would have been engaged always in spiritual events, and your lives would always have been engaged in the same challenge in the third dimension, which is abandonment, betrayal, and trust. I gotta be right. I can't look stupid. I don't like pain. So it would have been another exploration in that direction. So you're not in the reincarnational cycle and you won't come back. I know that was a great boon for me when I finally understood I didn't have to come back to this hellhole. That's not part of it. That's the species, but not necessarily the individuals who are in the species. Okay? So we'll do these, and you can ponder them. Of course, everyone's going to have some of this, more or less. Patience is an issue with patience. Well, patience is just more. The way you find out about patience is just exercise it more. There are multiple reasons for challenges with patience. It's just, I should get the book out.
Yeah. The big bad book.
Get
Big
out
bad
the big
book.
bad
Give an idea about the multifacetedness of these things and how they're so challenging to get at.
I heard you're coming, Rumbling. I know.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Spiritual work and I guess physically.
Yeah, my mother-in-law more patience.
Is that your book?
I've used this guy for 25 years. He's a guy who must have someone standing over his shoulder telling him exactly what that one is about.
Who is it?
His name's Narayan Singh. You'd also find him under Michael Jordan Lincoln, I think.
It's the two messages from the body.
Yeah,
Upside down.
the same guy. He's written several books.
Yeah.
They're
really-
amazing.
This is the DSM. That's the one that's these are all the issues that the pharmaceutical companies want to come up with to make sure that they have another patentable drug. So they hire high-end psychiatrists on high pay who get together and they come up with something that previously, the year before, did not exist. Okay? From our perspective, it's a useful tool to say, what's the cause of this? They're not interested in the cause. They want to be able
You want
to...
to medicate it
Yeah, for sure.
and label it.
Yeah, so if we look at... I'm not sure patience will be in here, but you'll see...
One more?
Impatience.
We'll be patient.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to be patient on this. Yeah, I have a spelling
Yeah.
challenge.
Maybe it's impatient.
Impatience, Jonathan.
With the,
Oh, yeah, impatient.
Yeah.
That's a good a spelling challenge. You know, it's said before, eh?
The book I have, Messages from the Body, have never failed when someone had come to me and presented with a symptom that they
Yeah.
felt was their
Yes.
issue.
Mhm.
And I just let them read the 2 or 3 paragraphs
Yeah.
that never failed, that nailed them right exactly
Yeah.
what's
Well,
going
these,
on.
yeah, we call these the books we love to hate.
yeah.
Because when something comes up, we want to know what it's about. I am, does help when you can spell. We're in the right place. Nope, not quite. Yeah. Impatience.
Yay!
Renata?
Yeah. That's my middle name, yeah.
Jonathan was waiting for you to call out the page number.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. I should have remembered.
We've dealt with this before. So we go back to the other ones. instant gratification fixation. They feel totally betrayed and abandoned by the universe. There we go, betrayed and abandoned, primal, right? And they don't get, if they don't get their desires met immediately, it's the result either of now you see it, now you don't parenting, where if you don't seize whatever is present, it will disappear, or of overindulgent keep them around the old homestead parenting, where every whim was catered to. So does that fit with anybody? No?
Some of it.
Some of it? Okay. Now another thing is good to understand, at least I learned over a long period of time myself, is that my own issues are totally invisible to me. Which is often why I need a hit, which is why I need to break a bone. And I say, oh, I broke that finger, what is that about? And I look at that finger. And even when I read it, you know, if the actual situation is present, you know you're impatient, and I know you're just being exposed to this, my experience would say, it's in here. So then what part is it that you don't see, and why don't you see it? Because it's an issue and it's invisible. That's the challenge we have with working with our own issues. In other words, we generally need to work with someone else, if it's a serious one. So, for instance, if I do something, and I'll say, well, Hazel, what is this about? I mean, I know I have it, I just broke 3 ribs. What's that about? I mean, it's there. There's no doubt about it. There's no, well, it might be, it might not be. It is. It's present. My body has not lied to me. I have 3 broken ribs. So I look it up and I read it. I can't understand a word. Completely invisible. And I say, well, I know it's this, so what is it, Hazel? Well, do you remember that time such and such? And no, I don't remember that. No. Well, how about this? And after several attempts, I then began to get the, oh yeah, there is something there.
Yeah.
I just recognize it. It's like you ask the fish about the water, and it goes, water. You ask the bird about the air. What are you talking about? And so we actually live inside these things, and they are event periods that simply repeat. That's what time really is, dealing with these things, part of what time is. So it's an event, it's a history that repeats itself, like that helicopter flies over.
Right.
Okay, this is a big one, a long time ago, disappears, comes back, bothers me, is right overhead, and then disappears again, right? And of course, when you're not impatient, so it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So that's the other part of it, is it gets triggered. These things are triggered, and they only come up in crisis periods when, just try to talk an angry man down from being an angry man. You're really angry. Yeah, what are you saying? You know, you just fuel the fire. So, I'll read it again. Instant gratification fixation. Is that true?
Yes.
Do you mind me talking about
No,
it
go ahead.
with regards to you? Feel totally betrayed and abandoned by the universe
No, I don't,
if they don't get their desires met immediately?
perhaps, but I don't feel like that. I'm not aware that I feel like that.
Okay. Would it be a possibility?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is it the result of either, it is the result of either now you see it, now you don't parenting. In other words, your parents would promise you something and take it away from you.
Absolutely.
Okay. But if that's the case, then that's true.
That's true.
Okay. So that would be the desire to reach for it because, man, it might not be there. You know, my brother promised me that bicycle, but if I don't say yes now, I won't get it. Or time passes and, what bicycle? What are you talking about? I never promised you a bicycle. Right? Or overindulgent, keep them around the old homestead. Overindulged? Okay, so,
Absolutely not.
okay, so that's perfectly fine. So it's either one or the other.
Oh,
Some of
yeah,
these,
right.
as you'll know, there's like 25 possible issues. It's not some, it's not others, it might be one. Or it might be a combination, a little aspect of 10 of them, because it's complex. I mean, we're not simple beings, we're quite complex. Okay, so it wasn't keep them around the old homestead. Like, get the hell out, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's another issue. But it wouldn't tie into the impatience. This is specifically impatience, right? So how's that working for you? And everyone else
Creates,
can
yeah, just
basically hook in because you'll all
creates
have a bit
suffering,
of this.
right? It creates
Yeah.
suffering when you resist.
Mhm. So would you be willing to give it up?
I would love to do that.
Good. You're willing to do it right now?
Yes.
Excellent. Anyone else? Hook in?
I'll do it again.
Me too.
Felt sense
I'll
of
give it up.
purpose.
I've been working on that.
Well, you'll start to see it shift. And then it'd be less and less. And you'll start, what happens is you'll see it coming up. You'll feel it. Part of what the bubble does, it will actually separate you from your experience here. You will see the emotions as if it's sort of like there's either a split second or a nanosecond, but you get it before you have the emotion. Because part of what you're doing is you're hooking into your feeling level. Feeling is ultimately continually connected. You're never unconnected with the feeling. You, as your identification, are not connecting to the feeling, but it's like it's there. So when you start to connect to that, your awareness and individuation of yourself, your identity of self, will begin to shift away from you being identified with this issue. So you will see it as, oh, it's coming, here, there it is. You'll see it while it's happening. And then you actually have a choice.
Bless you.
The time
And
between
you go,
the stimulus and the reaction.
yeah, there's a time between the stimulus and the reaction, and deep work will draw you
That's
away
the thing.
from your emotional field into the reality of you, and you begin to function from that place. I mean, yes, there will be things that will come up, and there are, challenging events, but for instance, in the case where our friend cracked her head open, and the family was basically useless, and we just sort of did what needed to be done. You get that, just the ability to act as opposed to be acted upon. And you'll notice that shift. Okay? It's really simple, but it's not easy. But it gets more fascinating. Like, this is really the only game there is. There isn't another one out there. Politics is boring. Making money is boring, All that stuff's boring. And so there's also going to be a sense of disbelief, because we're bordering on insanity here. And really, when Hazel and I were doing our work, we were pretty far out there, and I've always been far out there. But now it's becoming more acceptable. Oh, he's really okay. I thought he was going to be horrible, but he's not bad. Scary. So there's the one. Okay? So that'll shift. Anybody else who hooked into that and made the same decision at the same time, the same thing will happen. And a lot of it is becoming aware of what it is that you're becoming aware of. Remember that your issues are invisible to yourself. They will generally have to be pointed out. That's why we have husbands and wives. And children. Children will push every button you ever had. And this is, everyone has this. This is really a big one. It comes up, all of us have this, and it just shows up in a different way. Why would it just not show up here? How would that be translated? Often with these things you have to find the right book. You have to find how they view it, and the word can be different. Okay. Well, it's actually just yeah. Trust is not in here.
Mistrust.
Mistrust, mistrust.
That's
Well,
right.
you
You
know,
gotta
distrust.
go for the
That's
negative.
actually
Yeah.
another thing is you forget about the negatives.
I like that.
That's perfect.
You actually do.
Oh.
You just don't frame your life
No,
as a
it
negative thing, and you know you'll find that the boo-hoo artists are just so uninteresting,
Very interesting.
very uninteresting. And,
Oh
and
my
you'll tend to go towards your sole direction of going with what you like. You'll come into resonance with other people who you like. In this world, it's the attraction of opposites. Right? So you get an abuser who automatically attracts an abusee. It's a part of a dysfunctional cycle. So to heal the cycle, you attract them together until one of them gets it. It's usually the abusee. And then they say, I've had enough of this, man, that's it.
I'm out of here.
And then the abuser is going, but you know what? Because the frequency changes, they don't key into you anymore. They need somebody else. You know, they have to find someone else. And as they found, they asked rapists questions, and they said, "How do you? What do you do? What do you have? How do you find those people? Are you kidding? When I come into the room, they scream at me."
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about, the attraction of opposites. Right?
It's like you were sitting in the car with us, Jonathan. We had an entire conversation. It's like you were sitting in the car on the way here.
Oh yeah?
It's like everything, everything you were saying that you said all afternoon is exactly our conversation in the car. It's uncanny. It's like you were just recycling what we said in the car, right?
Yeah. Well,
amazing.
there is that aspect too. And also when you, they talk about this bilocation.
Thank you.
You know, and there are schools and there are avenues and there are people who literally physically bifurcate and there are people who pull a golden apple out of the air. These people do exist, okay? They truly do. I've known many of them, and many of those kinds of things have happened to me in my own personal life. It's an
Yeah, I
experience.
told them about
But
that too.
it's not a regular kind of a thing. It's not normal, but it's not. It's gaining the point where it's not that abnormal. You know, you might actually meet someone, and you won't be so surprised that they can do it.
No.
We actually were engaged with a group that did, in fact, attempt to teach us to do that. Because in my life I had some situations where I simply manifested something that was impossible.
Frozen apple pie in the middle of the desert.
Kind of shake your head and say, oh, how did that happen? So I wanted to know, and we came in contact with a group. I wanted to know what the process there was, because I've done it so many times in my life. I said, well, there must be a process. Yeah, there's got to be a process, but I don't know what that process is. So I started looking on the internet for something from nothing. I figured somebody out there must know. And that's when I came into contact with, you would call them an alien, a high-level alien contact group. Okay? And they gave us the information on how to pull something from nothing. And that's all fine and dandy. There's a process, there's a protocol that they use. They teach certain people who work with them how to manifest the food you want, or a new camera, or a new car, or whatever. Literally, I'm not talking about draw it close to you by the law of attraction. I'm talking about out of thin air. Okay? And they taught us and everything. And you know what we realized was we couldn't find anything we really.
What?
We didn't want anything. It sounds so stupid. Here they're going to teach you
It makes total sense. Once you can have the ability.
how to manifest a platinum watch or platinum diamonds or something. I mean, whatever. You want a chunk of gold. And we just could keep the interest up.
I said,
What about an apple?
Maybe I could have like a little piece of chocolate.
You can have anything you want. Chocolate.
And then you think, okay, so I'm going to do an apple. Oh yeah, okay, I'm going to pull the templates for an apple. Yeah, okay, so there's the target point, blah, blah, blah. And you're doing it, you say, but there's an apple in the fridge.
So you did it.
And then you think, okay, so what could I do? how about, yeah, let's do a platinum Rolex. That'd be an interesting one. And so you think, okay, it's platinum, it's a nice high vibe, I like the metal, blah, blah, blah. And then you think, why do I need one of those? You cannot keep your interest there. So then we recognize that this manifestation, self-manifestation, is literally a parlor trick. And guess who it keeps interested? Your negatively aligned ego. So you can't keep an interest in it because there's no negative to be aligned. You're not impressing anyone.
That's right.
Right? So you will find that your desires will change. After today, your desires will begin to change. And some things that you thought you really wanted, you're going to put your attention on it and go, so. And I guarantee it will go in the direction of your knowing yourself.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Right? Which is really power. When you know yourself, you can't be fooled. And you are self-generating, and you will continue on. The journey will continue, and so you will actually be the one here who chooses to engage in continually positively aligned exploration and experiencing more forever. You're the one who made that choice. You earned it, and you made it. And that's victory, right? Yeah. And I think I probably talked here all to death.
Now that we understand you better, could you repeat that? About 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's on video.
That's right.
You don't mind if I express it differently this time? We do, as you'll see, we do, if you'd like to continue. There are other levels, but what we found are 9 years. It took us about 9 years, well, 15. But there were times when and you were there at the beginning, we had a bubble, that's all we had. And then we thought, okay, the bubble's perfect, we can't touch the bubble, that was not the me. So we better not mess with that. When you have a kid and you don't like the ears, you don't send them back. They're yours. It is the way it is. It's a perfect vehicle. And we thought at the time when it came that this was all we would ever need. It was fantastic. It really has had a tremendous effect on many lives, our own included. And then we got to a point where we said, but there is something else. Like our lives are really working well, but there is something else here. What is that? And again, it was invisible to us. Well, it's like this itch I can't scratch, or what is it? So Hazel and I would bat it back and forth, and then we come down to one word. It's resistance. Well, that's a whole other thing. And so when you do that exploration. Now with the bubble, now you have a deeper understanding of self, so you go deeper and deeper. Right? And then we found that there were 6 for us at this point. There were originally 7, but the first was incorporated, so the sacred bubble was incorporated in the unity bubble. And we got to the last one, which is to abolish angst, which is the sadness of being alive.
And it is the most incredible feeling to finally not have that at the pit of your
it's kind of a thing that
being.
The psychiatry, psychology, I'm going to give them much credence, but they claim it to be incurable.
I don't have it. Is it hidden?
It might be.
Okay.
Right. And there will be times when you'll go through this. If you just do a bubble, you'll go through a period of nothing's tasty anymore. I don't know what it is. Okay, fine. You've been programmed to like this. You've been told you like that. You've been told you're really a great artist. You're going to be an artist, right? Or you've been told you're going to be an engineer, or you've been told whatever, and you've been told what you like, what you don't like, everything else. And now you find that you don't have really a great idea about what you do like. See? I mean, for years, anybody who's worked in this, people, what would you like? Well, I don't really know. Well, what do you like? I don't really know. I know what I don't like, but and we've just moved further into the positive, further away from the negative, so that it's kind of where you live from. Part doesn't exist. So it's been a great pleasure. I hope the day was fun. That was my primary.
Oh, you don't have more?
Does this say how you,
You have more,
how you bring the bubble back? Like just
Yeah.
by thinking about it?
No, you don't bring it back, it's there.
It's just there, okay.
It's there, it's with you. It's been created for you and it's with you now forever. Nobody can touch it, nobody who could would, and anybody who couldn't, who would, couldn't. See what I mean? Yeah.
So I think what we should probably do now is close off, because some of you may have other things that you need to do, and it's 25 after. And then we'll stay around for a little bit. If anybody has any questions, we can stay for a short
Yeah.
while. So I would like to leave you with a few words here. May you feel protected and safe. May you feel connected to your divine creator. May your physical body support you with strength. And may your lives unfold with grace and ease. Thank you for coming.
thank
I do have one handout here, which it gives you a brief description of the rest of the program. So if you could take one and pass them around. And there's also some books, the Universe, Jonathan's first book, the Universe Project, on the table outside. Please help yourself to one. Just welcome you. And hopefully I'll have further on.
Yeah, me too.